Hello, hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. And as always, I'm back for another amazing video. And honey, have I got a treat for you. Woo! Look, I can barely even hold myself together, honey, because my guest today is Dr. Darnice Martin. And if you do not know who Dr. Darnice Martin is, woo, look, I don't know what rock you have been on. Look, I keep saying look because I'm just so excited. She has done some amazing things in this world. Yes, I'm going to let her tell you all about herself, but we're going to let a few of y'all come in. I just shared the broadcast. I hope Dr. Darnice is sharing the broadcast. I'm going to share it in a few more places because I've been talking about it out this morning, talking about this broadcast out. I did a live this morning, got an invitation from my sister over at Exodus House, Renee. Queen, yes, you're doing the thing in Tanzania. And you know what? We're going to be talking a little bit about Tanzania today. And so go out, share the broadcast, do like I'm doing, share the broadcast. I'm looking down, y'all. Y'all know I have to share on my phone so I can see. So I've already shared it, but we're going to reshare it again. And then we're going to just let some of y'all come in because I know y'all slow. And I do know that you all love to watch the replay. So I am live right now. And so look, come on in this house and share. Okay, we have 6 of you. If you're in so far, please say hello in the chat and let me know that you're in there. This has been such an amazing week. So much is happening. So many beautiful things are happening. Hubby turned in his last paper today for his MBA program. So he officially has completed his MBA program today. Woohoo! So that is good news. If you guys are out there graduating, doing your thing, doing what you're doing, I'm so proud of you. Our guest is Dr. Darnice Martin, and she is just an amazing lady. She's a professor, an educator. She has a lot of information to tell you. We're going to be talking about African traditional religions. Many of you have asked me about African traditional religions. This comes up in the conversation over and over again. Hello, Kwame. How are you doing? So glad that you're here with me today. Hello, Goddess Within. Thank you, sweetie, for checking in. And so a lot of you have asked about when are you going to do something on African traditional religion? When are you going to do something? And so here, your wish is my command. And so today we are going to be talking about it, sharing about it, and it's really going to be good. Go ahead and share the broadcast. Help me spread the word. Help me to spread the word. It would really help me out a whole bunch if you would go ahead and spread the word that we are on live. It's time to go where I'm looking for you. Let's see. Now, though, the minute I'm looking for this, there it is. Okay, there you are. I'm also going to have some amazing people on the broadcast later this week. But today we're talking about African traditional religion. Passionate says about, Goddess Within said, passionate about this topic. As an ordained minister, I left the church 7 years ago. Wow. I know a lot of us who are waking up are leaving organized religion. We're leaving the church. And those of us who are on this Exodus path are definitely definitely leaving as well. Success Nation says, hey, Sanab, hey, sweetie, how are you doing? Congratulations to your hubby. Thank you so much. I will let Milton know. Milton says, hello, everybody. This is Bay, y'all. Thank you. My ride, my life, my support, my baby daddy, my hubby. Yes. I love you, Bay. I do. And Goddess Within says, passionate about this topic as an ordained minister. I left the church years ago. Dr. Darnice has a beautiful book that she's written. She's going to tell you a little bit about that. And so we definitely have an amazing guest who is an expert in this field, and who has some amazing information to share. How are you? Hope you're well. I am well, Kwame. Thank you so much. Goddess Within says, peace, family, just tuning in. Gonna let you keep sharing. And I'm gonna do, let's see. Kwame says, that's good. Well done to him. You guys are coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, babe. Love you so much. Thank you. So we are going, let me do a few announcements. I have a GoFundMe page. It's in the link below. If you'd like to help me and hubby and I to donate a small gift for, price of a coffee, you can or the price of something from Dollar Tree, you can donate a gift to us and help us to repatriate back to the motherland. And so I've already left the link below to our GoFundMe page. I have a Facebook group, My Repat Journey My Repat Journey, and so you can join that Facebook group. Also, I have an Instagram page, My Repat Journey. For those of you who are on WhatsApp, we're sharing a lot of information on WhatsApp, so come on in on WhatsApp, and we are sharing a lot of information there. So because it's fairly new, so go ahead and send me an email at myrepatjourney@gmail.com, and then you can go ahead and connect with me. Send me your name and your phone number, and I'll add you in to the WhatsApp. All my socials everywhere across the land are Sanab at Sanab. So if you want to connect with me anywhere on Facebook, Instagram, of course here on YouTube, then I'm just Sanab. My name, SYNOLVE, the channel name. Honey, that is me. All right, let's see. What else do I have to share? I feel like I had another announcement. Oh, if you'd like to share your journey and come on live with me, please. My Repat Journey, and you can send me an email and tell me, and then you can come on and we can talk about your journey. We're going to go ahead and bring Dr. Darnice in with us to the stream and get this conversation rolling. Hello, sweetie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I am well. I am well. Having a beautiful day. How are you doing this Sunday?
I'm doing pretty well. Of course, I'm always doing too many things. And I said, oh, I got 5 minutes to get on with Sanab. So I'm good.
I know it's like that. It's everything at the end of the month. As soon as you start getting ready to do something, I tell people, I think my daughter has ESP, because I promise you, as soon as mommy's getting ready to do something, my daughter is 24 years old. She has something. Today she needed me to run out and get her, pick up something for her. And I was like, of course. No? It was about an hour ago. So I had to run out, try what I was doing, go get but that's my baby. How it is what it is. So this is my baby, and she calls mommy, and here I am. It doesn't matter, both of them, they know. So please, now that that is all aside, we got all that, you got to get all that out. So now that we have all that out of the way, introduce yourself for the people who have been hiding under a rock and just don't know who you are. Please tell them, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Well, wow. I love that you put it that way. I have been out here doing some things of
Are
late
we
in a
in?
more public
Okay,
sphere.
there we are.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Darnice, are you there?
Yes.
Looks like
Do you not hear me? Because you're freezing a little bit, but I can hear you.
yeah, you're breaking up just a bit, so I didn't hear. Okay.
Okay.
So if you could
And
go
see,
back through that with us again.
okay. Yeah, because on my end, I was hearing you break up a little bit, but can you hear me?
You're just tell us a little bit about yourself. I think you're freezing. Is that what I think is happening?
Okay. And okay, so I'll just say, so yeah, I'm a writer. I am a
I can hear you
professor.
now.
Okay, we good? Okay. So should I start again? So yeah, hi everybody. I'm Dr. Darnice, and I'm a writer. I'm a professor. I have my YouTube channel here as
Yes,
well. A
you're
life
awesome.
coach.
This is perfect.
Okay, cool. And so yeah, I've had my hands in a lot of different things over the years in a lot of different ways in the classroom or in books or teaching people online. All of it, these days it's all of it. So I've been, blessed to do several things at this point. Mostly now at this point, I coach people in terms of spiritual matter, spiritual awakening, life purpose. Those are really the kind of things that I like to talk about and walk a journey with people at this point. I think it's important to tell the story of Black women's spirituality as it is emerging. As so many people, as Sanal said, so many Black women are leaving the traditional church, or what I call adding on to their traditional religions. So that's kind of what I do. I mean, my doctorate is in religion and history, so I've been teaching for 15 years in the classroom setting, but I've also been teaching, many years online and writing books and stuff. So a couple of my books are behind me right there. I'm sure we'll talk about those. And I've been to Africa, so in case you want to go down that conversation, Sanal, I'm all in.
Okay. Awesome. That is awesome. So now you have written several books. So tell us about some of the books that you have, some of the books that you have authored.
Sure. Well, right here behind me, Beyond Christianity, African Americans in the New Thought Church. That was actually my doctoral dissertation, which was revised and published and is available widely. And so, in my journey, I really have always been interested in, I guess I'll say, non-traditional religions. Um, I always wanted to know, I was that kid who wanted to know, well, what's this religion? What are these Eastern religions about? What is this over here? What is that over here? And so by the time I decided to go to grad school, my questions about religion and spirituality were non-traditional. And so one of the things that I took on for myself is New Thought religions. And I bet even if you don't know the term New Thought religion, you probably know what it's about, right? So you might say, oh, that's a religion where people practice positive thinking, where they talk about manifestation, they do that visualization and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the umbrella for what New Thought is, but it's, obviously much deeper than that and having its roots broadly and deeply. So the book, Beyond Christianity, African Americans in a New Thought, was a way to, it's a case study of a church in Oakland that I used to attend when I was living in the Bay Area. And it allows us as African American people to understand ourselves more broadly than just as Christian or just as Muslim. It allows us to understand that we are multiply spiritual. And so a tradition like New Thought really allows us to be that. And so I wanted to talk about the Pentecostal influences on this group who were supposedly doing New Age kind of spirituality. So it's a case study of that. And then the other book, 40 something, is a personal development book that I wrote largely for women. 40 something, 10 radical lessons for women on how to live and love without losing themselves. So I'll pause there and see where you want to go with that.
Wow. Yeah, let's talk about beyond Christianity, because I think sometimes we are trapped within Christianity as the only religion, or the only path to spirit, or the only path or connection to the Most High. And there are so many different paths. The Dogon religion, there's so many different. The Ashanti, of course, we know the Ashanti, where a lot of us are more familiar with the Ashanti religion, but there are so many different paths throughout Africa. And sometimes we get trapped in, only because we're in a Christian nation, and because of our past history with slavery, all of those things, we don't have a clear knowledge, a wealth of all of the wealth of religions that we can choose from. A lot of times we narrowly begin to be herded. For example, when we first get beyond the church, we get herded into Voodoo and other things, which I think Voodoo is absolutely a beautiful religion or experience. But there are also monotheistic religions within African traditional religion. So beyond Christianity means so much, and so much more than we can, than we know. So if you could share a bit, I know you got in the other day with your class, you were teaching and no one wanted you to leave. So I'm just gonna let you share. They didn't want to leave. The students didn't want to leave. And so I'm gonna just let you share, because these are the things that we need to be aware of. As we're learning about our hair, we're learning about our heritage, but we also need to learn about our religious tradition as well.
Yeah, that was funny. I had my students in a Zoom class, right? 10 minutes over before
Beyond
somebody
Christianity,
told me.
there's so much more.
And so I didn't realize I was so over, but they eventually told me in the chat, hey, you're over. But yeah, and that class is called African American Religious Traditions. And so I start with them in a place of letting them know right off the bat that we came from Africa with something, right? Like there's this idea that African people were somehow just, I don't know, savages or something, without civilization, without spirituality, or without one that was legitimate and valid. Right. So it's like I have to clear the field, so to speak, in terms of the class. But what I was doing with the book was to, speak to people who are not in a classroom. And obviously it was a very particular story about a very particular church in Oakland, East Bay Church of Religious Science. But in so doing, my idea was, well, people will finally get the idea that African Americans are diverse in our religions. African Americans, African descent people are diverse in our ethnicities, in our spiritualities generally. And it's somewhat artificial to constrain people into boxes. And so, it's sort of the subtext of the book, which is, here, get a snapshot of this church, but also understand that we humans in general, African American people, we are doing more mixing of spirituality than we're even aware of. So in my class, when I was talking to the students, I keep sharing with them this term syncretism. And syncretism is mixing together religion and culture. And we all do it. We all create folk religions, right? It is the combination of culture and religion. Culture has to be a part of your religion. Otherwise, it won't seem relevant. You won't want to continue doing it. Like young people today say they don't understand why it's, why do I have to go to church, right? None of this makes any sense to me. I don't know what this is about, how it affects my life. Well, once you start infusing culture and aspects of other aspects of life that help people see how your spirituality is relevant, then people get it. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, this is relevant. And how come no one has told me about these things before? So in a classroom with that population, they were just 18 to 22 roughly. And so they're like, how come nobody's ever told me this? But when I'm talking to people who are, over 35, over 45, how come nobody ever told me about this? Why have I felt like I've been locked into this box of what is acceptable, legitimate, valid religion, and have not been able to explore, especially for African descent people. How come I have not had permission to explore what my spiritualities and my cultures are? And we know it. It's the root of white supremacy, really, which is to replace our culture with theirs, and for them to tell us continually that their culture is more valid than ours. And of course, over time, we buy into it. That's how the mental slavery happens, right? Is that we actually believe that their culture is more than ours or better than ours, such that we get this new argument. Isn't there like a new argument about Jesus being white? Like, who's arguing this? Like, what? This is not a point that could even be argued, but yet here we are arguing it. And it's because in the mind of white supremacy and white Christianity, they can't let go of the idea that the world is built in such a way that they say it's built. So for those of us who really want to get into these spiritualities, it's like an affront to them. It's a threat to say, oh no, the world is not as you imagine. The world is not as Western civilization imagined and presented it to us, because African people over here have culture. Other people have culture and spiritualities that are valid, right? So we've been in sort of a fight. African descent people have been in a fight to not only prove our humanity, but to prove the validity of our culture and our spirituality. And that's what's, it's so exhausting, and we know it's exhausting, right? But now the larger country, let's just say, are coming into this awareness of like, wow, this is a lot, right? Yeah, this is a lot to constantly be engaged in having to defend one's humanity, to first of all, learn your culture, your own culture, and to defend it against people who are constantly fighting you. Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's of no value. You shouldn't even look over there. Here, have this. Have my Bible. Have my Quran. Have my. But your own thing, no, yours is witchcraft or demonic or evil. So that's what we've been up against forever. Ever since we were taken out of Africa, is here. Mine is better than yours. So I'll pause there and let you respond or see if any comments are there. Are you there, Sinov?
Absolutely. For some reason, I keep getting kicked out, but hopefully we will. Hopefully we got this. We're getting this resolved. But yes, okay. We are. The whole idea that we have to somehow prove this validity of our religion, of what we believe, to anyone is, is just unbelievable in a way, because we have a wealth of religious experiences and heritage that predates even a lot of for example, the Christian religion only predates 2,000 years. And here we are being asked somehow to continuously validate and tell someone about who we are and what it is we believe. And so what I have decided for myself to do is just to no longer have to, no longer really answer that. I don't have, I feel like I don't have to answer for the history of what it is I believe. And then to allow myself openness to be who I am and to believe what I believe and to love, my love for nature, my love for the trees is something I can't even explain sometimes. It's just that feeling within.
Right. It's about oneness. Like, right,
Have
when you
you
really,
found that as well, that when people begin to come into the religion?
yeah, it's like a oneness in terms of when you really are delving into your spirituality,
Right. It's
right? Not
about
not your
a oneness.
doctrine.
And so when we really
I think there's a delay or something, but we'll get on the same page here in a sec. Are you there, Sanov?
absolutely, it's
Okay.
something that's within, and it's something that, yeah, there I am. I think I'm going in and out. You're kind of stopping a bit too. I don't know what is going on with the internet in the world in the West today.
No telling.
But I have, it's not something, when I first started, when I first started with African traditional religions, I just felt this overwhelming oneness and this overwhelming love for all things that I could not explain, for the trees, for the connectedness to the trees, to the earth, to the sky, to all that is. And I felt that from within me, not outside of me. With Christianity or the religions, there is a God that you must pray to outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when and it was a beautiful experience. Talk about being born again. And so when I started this journey with traditional religions, it was something that was born from within me, and the ancestors and the spirit and Most High began to talk from within. The only thing I can even liken it to is walking outside and touching your feet and walking in the sand. This, when if you walk on the ocean, or if you go outside and you feel the grass, it is just a beautiful feeling. Everything feels new. You're one with it. You're one with all things. What was it, your awakening like? What was, or have you always been this way from birth?
Well, I would like to think so, but as far as my awareness of it, I'm maturing into it. My mother used to say to me, I don't know how you got to be my child, because I was always so interested in spirituality. And when I was a little kid, I was determined to read my grandmother's Bible, right? Because that's the religion that I had right at hand, was my grandmother's Bible. And I was determined to read it front to back. And I was like barely able to read. And so over the years, my own questions just kept deepening, because I was reading, what I could get my hands on, Eastern spiritualities. I was reading that as a teenager. It didn't occur to me, though, to go to school and major in religion at that time, because that just didn't seem like a real thing unless I was going to be a minister, which I was not trying to do that. We didn't go to church every week. We went to church sometimes. We were AME, Zion, African Methodist Episcopal Zion people. And I would go with my great grandmother, or I would go with my best friend and her father. They were Baptist. Her father was a pastor of their church. And so I've always been on the search from a little girl, right? And I used to write stories, and something spiritual would always be in these stories I was creating, or something supernatural. Actually, I'd probably put it that way, because I didn't have the language to really, talk about the kind of questions I would kind of in my head, or dreams I would have, or that kind of thing. So I wasn't somebody who had like sort of psychic experiences, but it was just a pull, and I can speak about it now as it's a vocational pull. So when I work with people about their purpose, and some people are like, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I go, yeah, you do. You're probably afraid of it, or you don't know how to plug into it, but it's something that we all have. There's a oneness of our of spirit, right? There's just a oneness of spirit. And so it's a matter of plugging into that stream that's continually flowing. But we can easily be distracted and not fall in, not plug in, or be afraid to plug in. Or we're told you can only plug in through this religion or that religion. And then if that doesn't feel quite right, you don't want to plug in. And some people say, well, I've given up the whole thing. But now we're finding in this era, in the last, even before 2020, but in the last maybe 10 years, people have become so hungry to know, because we have we're spiritual beings. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we don't have a thing, if we don't have something to feed that, we're going to fill it up with what I call sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And that's not going to ever work. We've seen plenty of people die, chasing sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's a spiritual need, and it has to be met by spiritual food. Right. So now people are so hungry that, I keep saying, you got to follow Black women. If you want to know what's happening in the Black church or Black religion in America, follow Black women. Because we've been plugged into this thing, well, since the Americas began, right? We've been populating the Black church. But now we're like, we're giving it a hard side eye now, right? We're like, this church thing has been oppressive to us, and it has not gotten us our freedom. So what else? And so in my scholarship and my coaching now, I'm working with Black women in particular who are saying, show me what else, because I'm not being fully fed by this. And I have to say, there's nothing wrong with institutional religions per se, but they could easily become corrupted by various leaders and co-opted and all kinds of things like that. And some people actually do better when they have a formal religion, because to be out here and be spiritual or to be a mystic or whatever it means that you have to immerse yourself, and you have to purposely, intentionally have a cultivated spiritual life. And if you're not the kind of person who can do that for yourself, you might feel at some point, well, this doesn't work either. And I am starting to hear some people say that kind of thing too. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it's like, no, it doesn't do the work for you. It, meaning a spirituality, doesn't do a work for you. There's no magic wand and somebody's going to make your life perfect. It's a matter of you selecting what path are you going to get in, what kind of intentionality are you going to apply, and then you can expect some kind of good results. Understanding that you're part of a community, right? Your own ancestors, right? The descriptions that our African ancestors have given us about the cosmos, back to that oneness, they've told us, plug in, right? We're here to help you plug in, but they can't force us to plug in. So, I just, on my own YouTube channel, right? I tell people all the time, I'm always reminding them, look, you have to set an intention. You can't just say, let me just light this candle. Let me just gather these crystals and put them in a bowl on my living room table. What's your intention about it? Do you how does your spirituality even inform your life? It can't be laissez-faire and, well, I just try to be a good person. Well, no, because if you were practicing something like Vodun, that's a very specific religion, and it has very specific things that you need to do. So are you a person, I always ask people, are you a person who wants ritual or I should say defined ritual? Do you want hands-on mentorship, leadership, or do you want to be kind of left alone in your spirituality? Because if you kind of free-spirited, you don't necessarily want to get into something like Vodun or even Ifa, where there are things that you have to do, right? There's hierarchies that you still need to sort of abide by. It's a different system and might feel more culturally comfortable, but you have to know that as well. Like, if you're just out here in a free-for-all, you're going to get free-for-all results. I'm just looking at the comments here myself in case Sanal has to kind of catch up.
Exactly. Exactly. And there is no
I think she might be just delayed a bit.
exactly. There's no magic wand. I love that you said that because there's just nothing that magic wand that you can sort of
I know I have one too.
mm-hmm.
Right.
there
And
there is no magic wand that you can just sort of sprinkle over everything and magically
much as we might like there to be, right? It would make our lives easier in so many ways, but and it's good for some ritual work, but still it takes some intention behind it. It's not just, I could say, okay, well, this is just real pretty, right? And to decorate or whatnot. But what is the point of having, crystals that are pointed like this, and what happens when you point it at someone, and how do you direct energy, and do you know what you're doing? Because you don't want to just do things halfway when you don't really know what you're doing. Again, on my channel is called Religion, Magic, and Conjure. So, to some degree, I've give people some hints and tips on what specific things they can do. And I'm careful about that because I don't want to give people something that they can hurt themselves with or hurt somebody else with. So I'm very particular to give them pretty basic and self-contained things to do. Knowledge about crystals, knowledge about candles, um, knowledge about our own Black spiritual gurus who we rarely hear about. But as far as like the actual rituals and things, that needs to be managed with a group, with a community, with a babalao, with a mambo. You need specific direction. So I'm not going to be one of these people who just tells you on YouTube, go out here and you know put this together and put this together and light a match. I'm in California. We can't be out here just lighting matches like crazy, right? We would set the whole state on fire. So I just have to be very mindful of even telling
wow.
people how to do stuff. Like, don't get it crazy, and don't, misunderstand when, there's this notion of, and I also do hoodoo, right? Personally, I call myself a New Thought hoodooist. And so I'm into that African American African system, hoodoo. And so I tell people all the time, because that could be called root work or conjure or whatever. It is your intention about a thing that's important. Nature is neutral, right? Those leaves and weeds and things that you put together and call yourself going to put roots on, those things are neutral. What are you getting ready to do? You have to take ownership. And also what we know from, one of the Loa Eshu, right? There's trickster energy. You can start trying to do some stuff, but if you don't do it right, it can go all kinds of haywire. So if you call yourself trying to get yourself a man or get yourself a woman and bind them to you, don't want to do that. You do not want to do that, right? Because do you really want somebody to be bound to you forever? You don't know what that. And people think, if I bind this person to me, they're going to be my perfect mate, even though they're not your perfect mate now. But somehow you think, I'm going to do this, put roots on them in a certain kind of a way, and they're going to turn into my divine partner. No, they're going to be the same type of person they've always been and now stuck with you. And so I love our systems because they help us with responsibility. They help us know that we are active and that we have a responsibility in terms of how we interact with ourselves, each other, nature, right? Our spiritual practices, the Orisha, the Loa, it's real clear. Hey, you do this, this what can happen. And you did it. It's not like, oh, the devil made me do it. Huh? No, it was you. Again, like our fires, people out here having a gender reveal party and poof.
Right. Tell us your channel again. If you can type it into the chat, please do, Dr. Darnice. But tell us your YouTube channel again. Kwame would like to know.
It's oh yeah, I need my glasses on. Pardon me. Dr. Darnice's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. I'm typing it in. Yeah.
Dr. That's your YouTube channel?
Yes. And like I said, I talk about, things that have to do with Black religion, African American religious development from the plantation. So in those classes, in my university classes, I have to pretty much limit it to African American, but on my channel, I can do more and go broader than African American. I can talk more specifically about, hoodoo or voodoo, or, what is voodoo as opposed to voodoo. And, I can really explore those things more, which is why I like having the channel to do that. But in my university classes, I get to even help students. Young people today, they have so very little. Those of us who are, I'm going to just say over 45, a lot of us we went to church at some point. And so we have a certain understanding, at least, even if we've moved away from it. We understand the biblical stories, or we understand that, okay, these are allegories or whatever. These young people who are 18 to 20 years old now, nothing in their brains. So part of my job is to even helping them think about spirituality. Because those Bible stories, when we were, some of us dragged off to church, at least we got the idea that there is a God and that there is an interaction that God has with us. And here's how we know, that, through these stories. But these young people, they have nothing. It's like a blank slate almost, or no match is found, I say it. So sometimes I say to them, I'll reference a biblical story or something, and they just look at me, blank. And I go, what? No match is found in your brain? No match is found. No match is found, Dr. Martin. So I have to do that much more explaining. But part of what is so sad to me about it is they lack the ability to think cosmically. Unless, and then here's where I use pop culture, unless it comes to them somehow through movies or film, even something like Harry Potter, something like even Black Panther and Wakanda, to help them begin to use their imaginations to some degree. And, that's fine. But I really wish that more parents of 20 somethings would have given them the framework for thinking spiritually. I know a lot of us were like, well, I don't want to give my kids that or take them through that, Catholic church or whatever, because it was too strict and it's not right. But now the kids don't have anything. And they're out here hungry. And like I said, when people are spiritually hungry and don't know where to look, they will fall into the trap of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And everybody does not survive that. Right. And now we have so many more young people who are medicated on various pharmaceuticals. So I have that as well, who they have therapists, they're depressed, they have all these medications. And for me, from my perspective, I'm like, some of this is really a spiritual void. Nobody has given them spiritual imagination. No one has told them how to sort of channel their spiritual questions. There are fewer and fewer people they trust with their spiritual questions. So another role I have here on campus at Loyola Marymount, where I teach, I'm also a lay minister. And so that's an interesting role, because that people can come to me with these kind of questions. And I always say to them, I'm not trying to convert you to anything. I'm not trying to make you do anything. I just want to be that place where they can finally speak about questions that they've had, religious questions that they've had, without feeling like they're judged, or, I feel stupid, or I don't want other people to think that I'm crazy because I'm still talking about God or Jesus. And, this is a Catholic university where I am. So some people are very religious that way in terms of Catholicism. But even they have questions. It's natural to have questions. It's natural to have spiritual questions. And so where do you go with them when you don't even feel like you have the right words? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, myself as a young person, I was so hungry for it. Right. And the more I studied, the more I found mentorship, the more I could put together words and read books that seemed really relevant for me. But this is why the mystery schools were so important in ancient times. The mystery schools were so important because you studied up under someone. They gave you direction. They didn't just send you out here, see what happens. I mean, here you got to have some kind of guidance so you don't hurt yourself or somebody else. So I just see a question here, a statement from God is within. I'm finding more and more that my clients who come to me for mental health issues discover that their issues are spiritual.
So
yeah. Jump on in and all anytime. Again, I think she's delayed, so I'll just keep
absolutely
reading.
So this is Dr. Darnice's YouTube channel.
And she's lost. So God is within. If you wanted to say more about that, I'll just keep continuing and she'll join us. So the goals changes to transitioning from religion to spirituality. Yeah. So if y'all can still hear me, we can continue the conversation. And here she come back in. Yeah. Transitioning from religion to spirituality.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just YouTube is not participating with me today. I'm yeah, can you hear me? YouTube is not participating with me today. This is Dr. Darnice's YouTube channel. Yeah, Dr. Darnice, House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes. Oh no, you're frozen,
y'all. I hope you can hear me. Let me know. It put a 1. I have just joined. Thank you. If you can hear me, Kwame, put a 1 in the bottom so I'll know that you can hear me. That you can hear me. So one of the things you said, Dr. Darnice, if you can hear me, please put a 1 down in the bottom so I'll know that you can hear me. Okay, let me know. One of the things that you talked about was was being careful with spirituality, no matter what we use, because it has consequences. And so I don't know how many of you saw the story. I'm looking down on my phone, but saw the story of the woman who died, who conjured the white woman who died, Muzungu woman who dies after summoning ancient Haitian voodoo god Papa Legba. And so you want to be very careful, and we should be practicing spirituality in community. People think, people think that this is a joke. I mean, they think that this is a joke, and it is not. It is not at all.
No.
Let's
because
see.
There are energies that
and so it's not. I mean, it's not a joke. This is some serious power that we're dealing with.
Right. There are energies that we don't even.
I keep going in and out. Yeah, I know.
That we don't even know about, because in Western civilization, we haven't been taught that there are energies like that. We've been taught that there's Satan, right, in his legion or whatever, and then there's Jesus on this side. And so if we sort of reject that wholesale, we lose the lesson though about discernment. There's still a lesson to be learned about discernment, and that you don't just enter into things, because there are energies in our cosmos, if you will, that if you don't know how to engage, you've sort of set something in motion. Even if you wanted to just be, take some spirituality out of it, even if you from that perspective, you could just say cause and effect, right? You're setting some things into motion, and you're not knowing or prepared for the consequence or the effect. And so people think, oh, it's all nature based, and so it's fine, it's all lovely and dandy. Well, it could be, but again, if you don't have leadership and community and guidance, you don't know what you've sort of set in motion and how to close it down. Like, how do you open a ritual? How do you close a ritual? Those things are really important to know. And it's not just Hollywood, where it's like, okay, some people who are doing witchcraft, they draw a circle, and then you don't even know what happens next, because then the scene changes in the movie, so you don't even know what happened after that. Or they show you a voodoo ritual, and they're not really showing you that much. They're telling you a story about Marie Laveau, for example, because that's trendy for some people. And again, you don't know how it all went or what the procedures are. And that's why I say, it's important to understand, like, some of these traditions are religions with a particular flow and structure. And if you're going to participate, you got to know the structure, right? You don't just hop in. And in America in particular, Americans are very, we're very individual, and we want to be able to do whatever we want to do and assert our rights. I have a right to do whatever I want. Well, sometimes rules are in place for your own good, right? And take it seriously as you would anything. If you're going to go into any sort of program, a school program, you're going to start a degree, right? There's structure to it. So just allow that in terms of your spirituality, there's more than one person can know. So allow yourself to be fed by a community, and then your spirituality will naturally expand. Well, naturally. But, people got to be careful out here.
Right. People got to be careful. This is beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
This is that story. And so we need to be very careful. And so she's dead after summoning the voodoo god Papa Legba. The Virginia teen Caitlin Reston tried to summon Papa Legba by burning voodoo dolls on March 29th. People warned her not to, but she told people to let her live. Y'all see that?
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, in America, I've been calling it, just because of the whole nature of things in America right now, a pathological individualism. It's become pathological, where people just want to feel like I can do whatever I want and you can't stop me. Right? So she's on here talking about let me live, and now she's dead because you couldn't learn under somebody. You couldn't understand that everything ain't for everybody, first of all. And Papa Legba or Eshu or what, that energy is really not for play. It is a trickster energy and not a person, right? It is an energy. And so you have to know. And I always say, look, a trickster, what is trickster energy? It reminds us to practice discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds us to be humble, to know, hey, I come before these energies. I come before something greater than me when I enter into this. So let me be in a perspective of humility and learning. And I won't be in that space if I feel like I know everything and I can just do what I want. How are you going to tell Papa Legba I would do what I want? No. Anyway, we have to mention the obvious in that case. What did you say her name is? the girl who was doing
Who's
it.
Caitlin?
I thought you said
Yeah.
Karen. You know,
No, Caitlin. Who was it? Caitlin. Let's see. Let's go back to it over there.
I mean, that was enough, because what my
Yeah,
point is that that's not even her ancestral tradition. Looking at her, right? She is
no.
not, right? It's not her tradition. And she was in it trying to do what she wanted to do, not understanding. She probably saw it on TV. And now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, now her parents are heartbroken because their teenager has passed on.
Caitlin Reston. That's her name.
Someone says no respect, so she was rewarded. Well, it's, you know, it's consequences. It's action and consequence. And we really, I mean, if we want to just broaden the conversation a little bit to talk about America in general right now, what's happening is that America as a nation is a very young nation and very much full of hubris, or full of itself, basically, and is having a lesson that says, you know, you get your hand slapped when you get your bottom slapped because you're doing too much and you haven't learned the ways of the world, really. Like these other countries that are older, they've already been through these kind of thing, and they're looking at America like, what y'all need to do is, right? But the so-called leadership can't even understand, oh, I have to take direction from somebody else. Yeah, you might want to take direction from some other country who's been around for 1,000 years. You might want to, right? But it's American, just being full of itself and having to learn some lessons. You set some things in motion all across the globe in terms of imperialistic behavior, and it's coming back. You set some stuff in motion in terms of, you know, genocide coming to this country, enslavement. That's sins of the father, right? And so those of us who practice indigenous kind of spiritualities,
Right.
we understand that stuff does not go away. That is energy that's unleashed, and it does not go away.
Never died.
Right? It's like you think you're so powerful because you have a great military or because you have wealth. No, it's a reckoning right now. It's a reckoning. And as we see, some people are like, well, how much longer do we have to even deal with this? This meaning Black people, this meaning the legacies from slavery. You're going to have to deal. That's how long.
Right. You know, and it is a reckoning. And so even Goddess Within said, even with yoga, it's become trendy and many people don't understand the mysticism associated with it. And we make these mistakes, and we're going to have to deal with a lot of things here. But at the same time, we need to know that other cultures, this is not your you know, your cultural tradition. You need to know that you may be rewarded, and it may not be the reward that you seek. So be careful.
That's what you're looking for, right? That part.
Right.
It's like, and then
be careful.
mad, and right, and then people get mad because it's not what they're looking for, and want to say, you know, it didn't work, or, you know, I can already hear people, Caitlin's, you know, relatives and friends saying, oh, well, it wasn't her fault because blah, 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 or she saw this on a YouTube video, or she saw this in a movie. It wasn't her fault. Like, no, see, what Papa Legba will tell you is it is your doing, right? And there's no great savior who comes along. Yeah, there's no savior who comes along and says, just believe in me, and then you're just absolved. No,
right.
It's look at yourself. And that's what I really appreciate about African traditional spiritualities, is because it helps us look at yourself, as does New Thought. So, you know, I said I have New Thought and Hoodoo. New Thought is about what is your intention? What kind of, you want to manifest something, but you're kind of confused in your thinking. You don't even, if someone says to you, well, what do you even want? What do you want in a mate? What do you want in a new job? Well, I don't know. I just want to be happy. I just want to make a lot of money. No, that's not clarity. the universe could bring you anything, and you're like, well, all you said was you want to be happy, so I just, took away some stuff and brought you this other stuff. You happy? Right? So these traditions where you have to be intentional, they really do us a service in terms of our spiritual growth, because they propel us as opposed to pacifying us and allowing us to remain passive. You just go to church and you hear what the minister says and then you go home. Even with the best intentions, that's a passive kind of religion and or spiritual. It's not really a spirituality because you're not practicing it if you're just going through the motions. But these other things are like, no, you step into this, it is a river that's flowing, and you better know about that river or you're going to drown.
Wow. And she drowned. You said she drowned in the bathtub. Okay. Well, let spirit speak when he speaks.
We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you.
But Estelle says voodoo is not spirituality, though. Isn't it religion? Can you speak to that question, Dr. Darnice?
Well, it's just what I'm saying. It is a religion with its structures, right? But then what do you do with that? Right? Do you have a mambo, right? And you can go and get initiated in that kind of thing, but it's not meant to be passive. So with any religion, you can practice it passively and just be in receptive mode, or you can practice it actively such that your spirituality grows. So I think one of the last couple of videos that I posted, one of them was basically, what kind of person does your spirituality inspire you to be, so that it's not passive. You should be, I feel like your spirituality should push you to be a better version of yourself. So it's not about you comparing yourself to somebody else. I should do this, I should do that, I should, whatever. It's, how does my spirituality help me engage in this moment that we're all living through in 2020? Is your spirituality helpful for you, or are you full of anger and rage and depression? And not to say that those things aren't valid responses to these moments, but if you have a spirituality that you're living, does it help you deal so that you don't act out of rage, so that you can't even sleep at night because you're so anxious? You sat up watching, the news or whatever, and now you're, crazy feeling in your head. Okay, well, how do you turn that off? What practices do you have in place to help you calm down and then get up the next day and still try to be a good person? Because all of us can just be in a state of rage all the time. It would be easy to just be that. We have justification for it. But a spiritual practice says there's something bigger going on. There's something bigger than myself. I still know that I should be trying to help somebody. If it's nothing but I saw somebody today and I gave them $1. I normally give the homeless guy $1. I gave him $2 today. Because, when the virus first started going on, I said, the homeless people who have their regular spots, y'all, I'm in LA, so big city, and we got a lot of homeless people. Yeah. And there are homeless people who I'm used to seeing on my certain route, right? So my regular homeless guy who sits outside Starbucks or Subway or wherever. And so when there was less foot traffic, I said, well, that person's income is impacted, right? They're not seeing the same foot traffic, people coming by, giving them enough money. Are they going to be able to get enough money to eat today? Or, one of the people I know, they said, I can get a room sometimes once every few weeks. I get enough money, I could get a room somewhere. Well, are they going to be able to do that so they can bathe, so they can rest in a bed? And my mind went there. So I said, well, these people need more help now. And they need more help from ordinary people who are just walking around. So, hey, here, let me give them $3. So, and that comes from I took that on as my own, sort of as an extension of my spiritual practice. Not that anybody's watching or anybody needs to know about it. It's just, hey, you know what? Help out. I mean, that's just on the basic level. Help out. Right? You can't trust the government, for God's sake. You don't know what we're going to do.
It's a give and a take. And that's what the beauty of I call it human spirituality, of consciousness, in this moment of traditional religions, because we actually care about other people. You actually care about the people that the Most High, that the universe spirit brings on your path. And not only do you care, you feel some sort of responsibility for them. They're looking out for you. They're like, oh, I hadn't seen you in a couple of days, and you're looking out for them. And we create this family. And so what happens is a lot of times we have been so connected or disconnected from ourselves that we don't know who our family really is. We think, oh, it's mom or dad. No, the whole world. You begin now to pull in the homeless guy on the street, the old lady that, lives a couple of blocks down from you, and you begin to build this community. But that's not something that happens sometimes in more Western traditional religions, because if they don't go to my church and they don't believe what I believe, honey, no, because, they're demons and the Bible, and I ain't, no.
Like, they're not my family and I don't care about them. Yeah.
Right. And if a man don't work, he don't eat. Milton is saying that's the truth. It's really sad that the church is more sometimes oppressive than other groups. I think, sometimes we miss. I grew up in Mississippi, and I hope you'll speak a little bit to a little bit more of coming out of traditional religions. But I grew up in Mississippi, and there was a First Baptist, and so my husband is an ordained pastor. Let me go ahead and say that. We are out of the church now. Let me say that my husband's been to seminary. I have also been to seminary. I dropped out. I'm a seminary dropout. Let me just tell you, I applaud Dr. Darnice for being able to go through the process. But if you want, I do know, because I have been through that process. And so I applaud her. Kudos to you, because it is not easy. But growing up in Mississippi, we had a First Baptist and a Second Baptist. And so the First Baptists were where the slave owners went, and they would often make, and I do mean make, the slaves or our enslaved African ancestors, they would force them to go to church, and they would make them sit up in the rafters, and then the bottom of the church was for the Mzungus or slave owners. I'm saying Mzungus. You guys who've been here with me, for a while, what that means, because YouTube is flagging other words. So we have to talk on code. So just so you know, but so that's what happened. And then after we would go out, my ancestors talk about going out to the bush arbor. Milton's family talked about going out on Sundays or early Sunday morning or late Sunday night and practicing our own spirituality. And somehow we've lost that. We've lost our traditions, our heritage, our ancestry of what we are. And then there would be the Second Baptist Church. Eventually it was started, and the slave masters would install a pastor. Okay. They would put a person who was a house slave, or a person they felt they could trust, or they had won their trust, approval. Exactly. And yeah, I am a proud seminary dropout. Yes, I am, honey. Yes. Blessings to you from Ghana. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to share about spirituality, please share. Let us know. We're learning. But and so there is, of course, this installed pastor in the second. So in this second church, or Second Baptist, whatever it may have been. And that was the Black church. And this is what we have now. The remnants of what we have now are still an oppressive system that was taught to us to keep us in line, to keep us passive, not to show us the power of what we can do with our own spirituality and the reason we were brought here in the first place. I mean, a lot of people think we were brought here just to work in the cotton fields and no, we can conjure, we can create with our minds. We can see things. I tell my husband all the time, he's magical at this, because he can build wood, build, all kinds of beds and all kinds of, if he can see it in his mind, he can create it. And you can do it. Dr. Darnice does it all of the time. I can do it. You all each have that power to do it. And that's why we're here. We took a nation where there was nothing, and we created all that is here with the power of our minds.
When I go to South Carolina, and mostly Savannah, Georgia, and then into Charleston, and one of the things that was so I hate to say it was surprising, or I was being reminded as I took various tours and got to know people in those areas, Black people, they reintroduced me to the idea that enslaved people were the skilled laborers who built those cities, who built Savannah, who built Charleston, right? With ironwork and paving streets, and pretty much all the labor you can imagine was done by these African people who were brought over and who were already skilled.
In Togo and Congo and Ghana. They were already skilled labor.
Right. And so, much to the slave owners' delight, right, they find that their slaves know how to do things, and those things end up enriching them. But what got lost for us as African Americans growing up here is that very thing, that very notion that there were urban slaves, is how it was told to me when I was in Savannah. Urban slavery, where those people, they weren't in the field. They had skill. They were recognized as having skill. Of course, I didn't get them their freedom or any kind of humanity, really. But it meant that, that's my slave, and he's making me richer because he's a great iron worker. Or even the cultivation of indigo, which, if you go to the Low Country region, South Carolina, Georgia, Northern Florida, you'll find like this shade of blue, this indigo, right? That's cultivated, that's from Africa, right? They already knew how to do that. They were already great cultivators of rice, right? So these rice plantations that became so astronomically wealthy, it's because African people already knew that. So there I was on like a tour, basically a tourist, excursion, learning about urban, the way that African people built those cities. And I said, now think about what difference that makes, even to our own young people. And I shouldn't even put it that way, because what, at this point in time, what we're knowing is it's not just Black people who have to know our history. When white people know our history, they can start to let go of white supremacy, because everybody's still under this delusion that Black people don't have anything, or didn't come from anything, and didn't have any skills, and should be glad that they got the Bible. And so once everybody, right, it's like the re-education project of the entire world, comes to understand the talent and the value and the contributions of African people, that's when this world will change. Now that sounds like a huge monumental task, right? But over time, it's like I feel like there's been y'all might comment on this as well, a redirection right now, as things just sort of crash and burn literally right now. And then it's got to be a reemergence, like the phoenix rising. Well, Africa is set to rise. Like what we see now, the feminine energy is rising and Africa is rising. And so that gives us a glimpse into what's the world going to look like 100 years from now. A lot of this stuff is going away. And so we're standing in the fire. That's why it's so difficult, because we're in the fire. But we just got to know, like, you know what, Africa rising, it's our time.
It's our time. Milton says most 20-somethings, you mentioned young adults. And so Milton says most 20-somethings were raised in households with praying parents and understand religion. I believe it is hard for them to believe when they see everything that's happening today. They want to know where God is during all of this time. And, this is a very important question because you teach young millennials, you teach this group. Milton and I have 2 millennials, and we talk with them about this. And so for me, Dr. Darnice, and you weigh in, for me, and my husband and I have talked about this, where God is now is in us, and where God is now is in us making different informed decisions about our way and our path forward. And that way and that path forward may not look like what our parents did. Maybe it is time to change and to do. We've done the protest. We've held the bloodstained banner. We've fought. We've done all that we could. And so maybe now it looks like what is happening. And there's so many different observations and pathways. But one of those things for me and for my family, for sure, is Milton and I go to prepare a place for our children and reclaim our heritage and our homeland, and even reclaim our own ancestry and our traditional religion, because there is an exodus that is happening. Now, I do know that as this exodus is happening, that there are some things within the U.S. that must happen. I went today, there's a video I have coming because there's so many store closings, it's ridiculous. And so when people sit and they say that, the economy is fine, don't listen. You pay attention. This is why we're doing this broadcast, because to help you to learn to begin to pay attention to your own spirit and what the Most High, what the universe, what the ancestors are speaking to you and through you. And so, Dr. Darnice, share with us in this moment, as not just children, but not just millennials and young people, but all of us want to know where is God in this moment?
Well, speaking for God, no.
Right.
And I will say, we have to make a distinction between millennials and Gen Z. So people who are in their early 20s and low, they're Generation Z. The millennials, and I say this because there's a different energy with these generations. Having taught since 2005, it's very interesting to me to observe like a sort of change in the energy with these generations. But anyway, and so I suppose it's regional too, because in California, the West Coast entirely, the kids have not grown up with praying parents. And that's what I mean when I say that they don't have anything, and there's no matches found when I refer to Bible stories, for example. Just in general, even I have to go to something like what is that movie, The Prince of Egypt, for them to know who Moses was. Yeah. So no, a lot of people, especially on the West Coast, they grew up with parents who were very spiritual but not religious, and so they don't have anything to give to their children and didn't. And so that only makes them hungrier. Right. So they show up in my classroom or various places and they're hungrier. And so, yes, they do ask the question. So where is God? If I'm supposed to believe in a God, where is God in all of this? And I give them this theological term. So y'all who went to seminary, you might remember this word, Theodicy. And I'm going to type that in because one of my students said, "You mean the Odyssey?" Like, no. Theodicy, which means if God is good and powerful, why do bad things happen? Right? So not just why do bad things happen, but if God is good and powerful, why do bad things happen? And so how am I supposed to believe in a God when all these things are happening? And I always say, like you said, it's enough. Spirituality is knowing God is within, and you manifest God as you move through life. It's again, I'm waiting for God and the magic wand to come and make everything correct, all my errors for me. No, that's not how this works. And as we mature spiritually, we come to understand that's not how this works. So where is God? Us. our hands, our feet. God is saying to us, where are you? You see your neighbor over there. You see them struggling. You see this happening on your watch. And so if you have a spirituality, the connection that you have with the divine will tell you, go check on sister so-and-so. You haven't seen her in a week, right? The spirituality will say, you know what? I need to come out of my own bubble. I know I've been thinking about this in my own head so much that I haven't thought about calling this person or whatever. Spirituality says, let me go out here and do something. It says, go out and take a walk in nature. Like you started off talking about nature. Like the way that the African cosmology understood how God or the Ashe is embedded in nature, you can participate with God through nature. So if you get up and you're like, I'm going to make a point to walk every day in the sand or in the dirt, or I'm going to start a garden. I'm going to do something because there's something in it that's more than just planting seeds. There's a recognition of what life is, the cycle of life and the oneness, right? So the things that you do with a spiritual consciousness is what makes something spiritual. A person can plant a garden and it's just planting a garden. It's just ordinary. Or a person can plant a garden and understand that they're communing with God that way, right? So like I always tell them, where is God? I said, well, what if God is only, well, two questions I gave them. What if God only cares as much as we do? And secondly, what if God only shows up as much as we show up? So while we busy saying, God, how can you let this happen? God is saying, I've given you everything. What are you doing? I've given you a planet that's rich. I've given you the use of your bodies and minds. And what are you doing? How do you allow children to be in cages? How do you allow people to go hungry?
Mm-hmm.
And so God shows up. I always say too, if you get up every day and you say, well, I'm waiting for God to tell me the number so I can hit the number and be rich. Well, did you even go buy a lottery ticket? Or are you sitting on the couch? Because if you're sitting on the couch, guess where God is? Sitting on the couch with you. God is not at the store buying a lottery ticket when you said you're trying to hit the number, right? So God is right with you. God is looking at you. What are we doing today? We sitting here looking at Netflix, or we going to go out and help somebody? Or we going to go, whatever, to the library, if you can go to a library. You know what I'm saying? We got grocery shopping to do. God is in the grocery store with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a lesson that we have to get in our humanity, that we are the embodiment of God. God shows up through our actions. So we can't then, turn back around and say, well, God allowed these things to happen and my hands are, clean. Like I said about the fires here, one of the set of fires that happened during a gender reveal party because somebody wanted to set off some explosive. Now, is that person going to then say, well, it wasn't really my fault that it got all out of hand because I only lit one match, or I only set off this little thing? Well, you did this in a very hot, we had like a heat wave here in California. It's very hot. It's dry, wooded area. It's a fire zone anyway, but no responsibility. And then say to God, wow, how does God allow the coastline from Oregon to California to burn like this? How does God? See, they need Eshu to show up and be like, you see, don't play with matches.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And take responsibility. We in Christianity, we take, no responsibility for anything that happens to us or through us or anything that we do. No responsibility whatsoever. And so I want to show this.
I saw you brought up the theology
because
page.
This is exactly what Dr. Darnice is talking about. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Let's share this. There it is. But here, I don't know if you can see this, but this is hope this is going to come up, but it is here, African philosophy. So, and when she was talking about African cosmology, African philosophy and cosmology is the system of the knowledge that gives guidelines for understanding your place in the universe. And that has been one thing that we have not understood. We have not understood our place in the universe, and I don't know if it came. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if we have not understood our place in the universe. We have not understood what it is that we do, and what it is that how we impact the entire world. We've been so used to allowing other people, entities, the devil, God, bigger entities, to somehow control our entire lives. And so with African cosmology, ancestral tradition religions, you understand how you impact the world and how important it is to understand your place and what it is that you are doing. And that's exactly what Dr. Darnice is sharing today. Now, one of the things, this is not, is this the right article? So there is an article that The Economist published several years ago, and it is that Africa is rising. And so let me, because this is not the right, let me pull up the right article. This idea, because Africa is rising. There are systems within Babylon that are falling. We're also repatriating soon because Africa is rising, rising, rising. This stream is amazing. Well, bless you, Goddess. Thank you so much, Dr. Darnice. Yes, Africa is rising. Let's, I'm going to pull this, if I can share this article here.
Yeah, and we know this because we're the colonizers, right? The Chinese are all over Africa, right? We see them with their hands in every pot they can get it in there, because they recognize, I mean, the whole West, the whole world knows the value and the richness of Africa. It's only African people in the diaspora. We've been duped, right? We've just been duped. But if we just were able to think, see, the indoctrination from Western civilization has been so thorough that we don't even think, wow, if there's nothing of value in Africa, how come they stay in Africa?
Right.
Like, it doesn't even make sense.
No, and all of the gold, I put this map up so many times, but all of the gold, all of the wealth is in Africa, from chocolate. All of the chocolate that you eat, the cocoa, it comes from Africa. Coltan, which is in your cell phone, all of these things. And so the Chinese are there, so many others are there, the British are there, America is there, Facebook is in Kenya now. So many things are happening. So The Economist put out this article a couple of years ago, several years ago, I think it's December 3rd, 2011, y'all, and we're just not catching up in 2020. Africa rising after decades of slow growth. Africa has a real chance to follow in the footsteps of Asia. So it will not be America next. It will be in the Onitsha, ONITSH market in South Nigeria. So it'll be in Nigeria. It'll be in Ghana, in the Gulf of New Guinea. So all of these places, Kenya, all of these places are on the rise, and they have been, The Economist is saying that they're on the rise. So many other magazines are following suit and sharing this information. Why don't we know it? Why aren't we investigating and researching our wealth? Now, the ancestors are telling many of us that this is coming, that this is happening. The ancestors, Dr. Darnice, come on back in. Looks like the internet might have taken you out, but the Most High is sharing with us that these beautiful things are happening, that the West is falling, okay? And so, and that there is much wealth. I'm gonna type in these words, vocabulary words, because y'all got homework to look this up. Bring Dr. Darnice back in. Type in before. Yeah. Homology. So just these, there will be a pop quiz at the end of the broadcast. So these are things that you will need to investigate, things that Dr. Darnice has brought up. So The Economist has said it in 2011. Africa is rising. And so now it is time for you to know your place and to know that you are rising. This is something that Dr. Darnice is sharing with us. Is it Slave Religion?
Yes.
By Albert
Rabbitoh. It's a classic book, and it really gives people a good picture of how enslaved African people reworked Christianity, even on the plantation, so that it became a freedom-focused kind of Christianity. I just wanted to make sure I gave y'all that, since you were talking about homework while I was away. And if people want to have a text, they can go to that book, and it's pretty it's not like encyclopedic or anything. It's pretty straightforward, but it gives a good picture of, like you were talking about, the hush harbors and things, and how Black people had to sneak away and do religion the way that they needed to do religion, infused with the African. So I didn't want to interrupt, but I just want to put that there.
Oh no, you're fine. Here is another suggestion that Dr. AQ Jackie, I've made you a doctor, baby. I've already crowned you. That Jackie AQ has sharing with us. She bought Dr. Kaba Hiawatha's Spirituality Before Religions this week. All right, send it to me when you are done, so that Sister can go ahead and read it. To add this one to your list as well. So we've got some really good things to share. And then, of course, you're going to go on over to Dr. Darnice's YouTube channel, Dr. Darnice's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure, and you are going to subscribe. You are going to tell her to make more videos and be on a weekly schedule so that we can stay connected. We need this information because we are arising. This is our time, y'all. This is our season. We must arise. As Africa arises, we must arise. And so our knowledge, right, and our wisdom and our connection to spirit. Tribal talk. What we got over there?
Yeah,
so she's going to give you some more.
Yeah, and some texts that I use often. This is someone who's really my mentor, Will Coleman. It's called Tribal Talk. If you can see that. And it really gives a good depiction of Vodun mostly, but some African religions in Africa, and then how we rework those in America. But I use it a lot because it's really good for helping students and people who are just unfamiliar with the African, right, understand where these spiritualities were in Africa, and more about the African cosmos. I have to really work with people to get us to understand how thoroughly we've been indoctrinated, right? Carter wrote Miseducation of the Negro, right? We've been so thoroughly miseducated that we have to relearn ourselves about Africa, so that we're not always talking about Africa as generically, and so that we have some nuancing. So tribal talk is good for that. And then this one, I'm gonna say this one is it's pretty academic, but it's really interesting. So Rituals of Resistance, African Atlantic Religion in the Congo and Low Country South in the era of slavery. I'm trying to get it there, y'all. Jason Young. And it's a little
ritual
of resistance. So it deals a lot by Jason Young. Jason Young. Yeah. So again, helping us know like where that, like, not just Ghana, African people were drawn from the Congo, how you know, from the middle range of Africa, and drawing these connections between very specific places in Africa, specific African rituals, and what those rituals began to look like once those African people were brought specifically to South Carolina and Georgia. So that's the region, the Low Country South, if y'all haven't heard that term before, but the Low Country South. That's the region that I'm particularly interested in terms of my research, because that's where hoodoo is really, where it really took root and grew as a form of resistance. So you understand that hoodoo is a spirituality that is not necessarily religious, but it's a set of African worldviews that is primarily for health, in terms of herbal medicine, but also resistance, protection and resistance against the forces of white supremacy. So what did African people know how to do? They understood the law of correspondence. And this is really what magic and conjure are about. The law of correspondence. If I put these two things together, it's kind of chemistry, right? I put these two things together, what is the result? And how do I keep my slave owner off me? Oh, I know how to fix him, right? I know what to give him. I know what to mix together to give him and fix him so he leaves me alone, right? So that kind of stuff. And I don't know if y'all know the story about Frederick Douglass and how he went to the root doctor to get the slave master off of him.
No, tell us.
Okay, well, it's a story. Frederick Douglass wrote about it in his biography, one of his autobiographies, where he was, I guess, his beating was impending, right? Like, you know, almost like your parents tell you you're going to get a beating or whatever. So he had time to think about it. But he knew things were escalating, right? And it's like, okay, it's going to come down to him trying to kill me or something. And so he went and got some roots. Now, Frederick Douglass tells us that he was Christian and he didn't really believe in these things. He didn't believe in these old root doctors, right? But it was a tradition that he knew about. And so he felt desperate enough to go to this person whose name we're told is Sandy Dennis, a man named Sandy Dennis, the root doctor. And so he's like, give me something. I gotta keep him off me. And so we don't know exactly what it was that Sandy Dennis gave him, but it was something that he said, well, keep on your person. So I'm picturing a mojo bag, y'all, you know, full of some different herbs and whatever, and probably some bones and stuff. Keep it on your person and he won't be able to touch you.
Wow.
And so he, you know, went, you know, he's living there on the plantation. So he had this interaction and the slave master couldn't touch him. They had a fight. Now, you know, ordinarily a fight, you can't fight your slave owner, right? You're a black man and you take a swing, you about to die.
Right.
That's how that's going to end. But no.
Strange fruit. Yeah.
Right. So he walked away from that. He was able to literally survive and walk away from that. And so he tells this story, Frederick Douglass tells the story almost as an aside. But what we get from it, the little nugget of wisdom is passed down, is how rich the tradition was. Everybody knew the power of it. Everybody knew, oh, you get in some trouble or you need some help over here, you go to this person. And who is that person? We might say that person is a shaman, that person is a priest, that person understood and retained African tradition, understood and retained African knowledge to even be able to come. Now you in the United States, you don't even have the same plants, right? You don't even have the same, but you understand, okay, I'm watching these Native American people, I'm watching this and this and this, and I know that this probably worked the same as that, right? That's a whole lot of botanical knowledge that a person has to have.
Right. Intelligence.
Intelligence. But see, when people treat you like you stupid and crazy, you can kind of play stupid and crazy, like, okay, well, never underestimate your foe.
Right.
If you underestimate you, they're going to come with something. So anyway, it's just one of these stories that's so rich, because even though it's just a small story, a little slice of Frederick Douglass's life, it points to something that was such a norm in African American life. It was a norm, but we've gotten separated from our own knowledges and wisdom traditions, because we've dismissed them as being old wives' tales, superstition. The Christian church have said, oh, that's evil. Root working is evil. Well, that's the medicine we had too. Right. To know what weeds and leaves and things were medicinal, and such that even white people would. What are the black people using? What kind of tea? You need a tea for your headaches or something? They knew, the black people know. Kind of like now, y'all, where white people come to black people for stuff, right? They come to us, and they come and they want to take constantly. And so it's on us to be really to have some firm boundaries about what we allow them to know and to take from us.
Mm-hmm.
So on my channel, I always say, not on my watch. We're not going to let go of our historical gurus and teachers and people, because they'll just repackage it and sell it to us at a high price tag later and look at us like we're crazy for saying, wait a minute, that was mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. I mean, right now, today, my husband makes up a salve that was passed to him through generations. And so if he has any type of ailment or is pain, he makes this salve, this oil, this, and you put it on your body. It's good for arthritis. It's good if you're exercising, you have, aches and pains, and that stuff. And so I remember growing up, my family members going out to the garden, going out in the yard and picking up roots that I didn't even know, picking up roots, making teas. I had colds. They'd make, of course they made hot toddies, honey, but they would make certain things and it would, clear you out, make you sweat, all of these things. Of course, now, what do they tell you to do? Go stick your head over a pot and,
right.
Hot water opens. All this stuff that we were doing, salt water. Now you can go and get the nasal spray with the saline.
Right.
Things we were doing. And we're having to pay for it. It's exactly what you said. They sell it back to us. And when they sell it back to us, it's still not as good, because the warmer water, salt water, is still going to be better for you than that saline that's been sitting. You don't know how long it's been sitting in those little plastic jars.
Exactly.
Forever. And so we can't lose what was evil. Everything's getting flipped upside down. So what we have known as evil is now good. And then, you go into, for example, you mentioned this earlier, Dr. Darnice, you go into the holiness church or the sanctified church and you see them doing all kinds of stuff and throwing water and holy oil. And where do you think that came from? You look at, look at the shouting and the going in the spirit. I was just watching, I think it was Togo or Senegal, and they were having the festival. I think it was Senegal. They were having this African traditional festival that they have every year. Of course, they didn't have it this year, right, because of COVID. And going into the spirit, they were going and, practicing and going into the spirit. It was just a normal thing. And when we go into the spirit and into the spirit realm and into the spirit world, we bring out wisdom and knowledge of how to overcome and how to fight our enemies.
Right. To share with the community, not to own and package, right? Because of capitalism, but that's another conversation. But we got to know our own stuff. Otherwise, we will discourage each other from doing it. Right. We'll tell ourselves, oh, you don't need to mess with that. That's a bunch of, superstition, or you don't need to do that. You don't need to even know about it. Right. It's become where, our grandparents stopped, or we stopped connecting with our grandparents. Our grandparents couldn't even tell us. And so, I always encourage my young people, 18 years old, go and talk to the oldest people in your family. Go and
Yeah.
talk to some old people, because right now, when you're 18, 20, you don't want to sit down with grandma. You might have just got out the house, got from underneath grandma's skirt. But here you are, maybe you're 23, maybe, you're going out in the world. You need their wisdom. And don't you want to know your own family's journey? Don't
Yes.
you want to know your own family? And I always say to them, I said, now I'm telling y'all this, and you're looking at me like, I don't have time to go do that. Well, one, now you're at home, you do have time. But secondly, you're going to get to be 30, 40 years old, and you're going to wish you knew. You're
And
going to
no.
wish you had it, and you can't buy it.
No.
Now you can't buy it because now the grands have passed on and nobody else knows. And now you don't have it. Now if you have your own children, you can't pass that on.
Mm-hmm.
So usually when I phrase it like that, they get it and they're like, oh, right. I'm like, yeah, go talk to these old people in your family. They'll be happy to sit down with you. Be happy that their grandbaby came to sit down and talk to them, or got on Zoom or talked on the phone with grandpa to find out, well, grandpa, how did y'all come up from Mississippi? Where did you go first? Right? How did this, and who was there and who stayed? We still have family there, what's the last names?
Right. We have to know. I was praying yesterday because I have rheumatoid arthritis. So I have a autoimmune disease. And so I was praying about my hands. I was having trouble with my hands. This hands was just so swollen. My mother-in-law, we were talking about it. And so my husband made a salve. My husband made a salve. And so if you so he made a salve. I will tell you, it's got a little turpentine in it. You can mix a little turpentine, a little Crisco oil or Vaseline, any kind of oil, any kind of carrier, and rub it together and mix it on your hand. You can use frankincense and myrrh, calendula, any of those oils, or menthol, any of those oils, you can use those. Just be careful about the mixture and how much. He doesn't use a recipe, so I can't tell you a recipe.
Start with a little bit.
Right. And if you wrap it up, it helps. But I was praying to Spirit and I was saying, I don't know if you can see. So I have these, so they sort of come up. And so I was praying about it. I was having trouble with this hand, could hardly move it. I was talking to my mother-in-law about it. And Spirit said to me, you're not drinking enough water. And I was like, huh? And you need to walk more. And so you probably, if you've seen some of my videos, you've seen me out walking, getting that exercise. And I tell you, I bought watermelons and I've been eating watermelon back to back to back to back. And I started to flush and flush. I flushed so much yesterday. It was ridiculous. I kept flushing. I kept eating watermelon. I kept drinking water. And now today I can move this hand. This is what I mean. This, it's exactly what Dr. Darnice is talking about. There's an inherent wisdom within you. Mm-hmm. Things like this come to me all the time. I'm going to be sitting talking to someone, and knowledge and wisdom will come up from the inside of you. And we have to reconnect with that. We have to reconnect because the answers that you need are really within you. And they're within your family, as Dr. Darnice is saying, and they're in connecting with each other, because oftentimes we have those answers for gout and for arthritis, and those things are within you. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not trying to give you medical at my house. But, I look for, what are the natural remedies for antibiotics, for example? What are natural things that I can use for antibiotics? What are natural? And the world is turning to this space. We're all trying to, even for COVID, you should have seen the natural remedies. I'm sure you guys did. They were posted on social media about COVID. And so we are in a new season. Goddess Wisdom says, and if Christians were to open their eyes, they would see all of the rituals that were performed in the Bible, i.e. animal sacrifices, all of that. A lot of that comes from traditional religions, Celtic religions, traditional African religions.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Nee, speak to that.
Because that's what people had. When we talk about indigenous culture, people use what they had. Even when you mention the turpentine, right? That's because it's what people had. And when I see people on YouTube especially, and they're like, well, you need this ingredient, you need this, and you got to go buy that. Like, yeah, you can, because it's our society. Most of us don't have a garden in our backyard. But keep in mind that people, you don't have to get that fancy or that expensive, because these are people who didn't have a lot of money. So they used what they had around them, and they had an understanding, again, a botanical understanding, an environmental knowledge. And so the more you are in flow with your own internal innate wisdom, body wisdom, spiritual wisdom, you'll know, like, when you get a strong taste for something, like you're craving, right? You get craving for something. That's because your body is like, we need some of that, and it's in that ingredient. So go have some potato chips or what, or ice in particular. Y'all know now, this is a known thing, but some of the women especially will know, if you're anemic, one of the giveaways about that is eating ice.
Nice.
You'll see women chomping on ice and be like, oh, she's probably anemic. She needs some iron. But you get a strong craving because your body's wisdom is like, I need that ingredient. Go get it. My grandmother used to chew on rubber bands, and we used to make fun of her in the house, like those in the family, like these big rubber bands. And her pockets would be full of rubber bands. And, come to find out, she had a mineral deficiency. And of course, it sounds gross. Like, she used to chew on rubber bands, but it was almost obsessively, right? And it was kind of gross, but her body's wisdom was saying, go get that ingredient from that. That's the nearest thing here to get it from. And so what I was saying earlier about ritual and the importance of ritual and what is spirituality, or the reason why you have to really cultivate it every day is because when you need something, you need to know what it sounds like when God speaks to you.
Come on and preach, somebody.
Right? You need to know what it feels like in your body, in your mind. How does God show up for you? So that when you get the download or whatever, you go, oh, and you don't sit there and be like, well, I wonder, I don't know. Let me call my friend. Let me call my sister and ask her, is this really that? I don't know. I'm so confused, right? Like, no. If you have been keeping the pipeline clear, like they used to say, Jesus on the main line, what is that about, Jesus on the main line? It means keeping a constant line of communication with your own spirituality. So when God speaks to you, when the ancestors speak to you, you be like, got it. It's clear, and I know the sound of it, right? Whatever that is, like I say, a sound, you just dream. Ooh, you get up from the dream and you remember it clear as a bell. And you're like, ooh, that's it. That's the answer.
Right.
We got to get. So who is this? I chewed on rubber as a kid, Jackie said. Yeah, I mean, the body knows, and it leads us to some odd practices, right? What is that called? Pica, when people eat non-food items. There's some reality show about it too, but people crave non. But
now, we're gonna. So true. What she said, so true. I use salts and put sugar for gout, and this helps me drawing the inflammation down.
Oh, yeah.
We need to know, as Dr. Jackie says, we need to know our ancestors. Well, hey, Shay, how are you doing? Shayla, it's so good to see you. So glad you're here. Let's see. Jackie says, that sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good. And it feels good, as when Dr. Darnice was talking about getting in the flow and knowing exactly what spirit is speaking. Shayla, hey, love.
And it's been great and all, but I got another thing to get to. It's been so good though. We've been talking 2 hours almost.
I was about to say, we're wrapping this up now. We're wrapping this up now. I just wrote that in my notes that it's time for your fight. You saw me looking down. That's what I just wrote down. So quickly share with us your final thoughts with us as you leave, because you've been so generous with your time and we appreciate it. So, it really felt like we're just having a conversation.
I know,
right? It was just so easy. So please, I just literally wrote that down. Like, okay, final. There you go. Just wrote that down. So please share with us some of your final thoughts.
I just want to say how important it is to have your own practice, and to not jump around in practices, because that dilutes our ability to hear. So, like people call it church hopping or whatever. Stay in one place so you can get your blessing, and you can use all kind of language. But I really mean, like, what is the tradition or the spiritual practice that is meaningful enough to you that you will do it every day and it doesn't feel like a burden? You will enjoy it. You wake up and you want to journal, you want to meditate, you want to pray, you want to tend to your altar. If you have an altar, you pour some fresh water every day, you light a candle every day, a little, tea light, if you were going to leave the house, you can get a little tea light and just light that. So you're establishing a practice for yourself. What do you have around you? Like, I keep a lot of crystals. Like, I got some selenite and some rose quartz and a big old amethyst right here, but they're not just for decoration. It's to help keep me centered and to help keep me, no matter the crazy, right? Because like now I've been holding this thing as we've been talking, and it's not just because I can hold a pen, just doodle or something. But when I'm holding this, it means something else to me, right? So my advice for people is always, but what's the thing that's going to help you on the daily, and cultivate that. Because you don't have to do 20 things. Nobody's going to do 20 things regularly. It's too much. So what's the spiritual practice that's going to feed you? How do you maintain it day to day so that it maintains you? Maybe I'll share this practice that I also have when we're talking about the wisdom of the body and how spirit works with us. I will often just ask my body, well, I should say often, pretty much every day, what does my body want to eat? It's not, okay, this is just here, so I'll eat it. And I have a pretty, clean diet here. I'm in California. I'm gluten-free and all this, right? But aside from that, if there's a buffet of things and everything even looks good, like you normally would have a little this, little that, little this, little that, but stop for a moment and ask your body, what do you want to eat right now? And listen and pay attention to the craving. That's a spiritual practice right there, just to get in touch with yourself, your body wisdom, and say, yeah, I would normally have the fried chicken, but I don't always want that today. I'm gonna just eat the greens and the potato salad. Maybe have a little tiny piece of some baked fish. Just check with yourself. So spirituality is about checking with yourself, checking in with the higher entities that are around. But if you're not quiet enough, you won't hear them. And if it's not regular enough, you won't know what to do with it when you do hear them. So that's what I'll say.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Darnice. We have enjoyed our time with you today. We appreciate you so much. I want to show you my amethyst.
Yay!
Yes. And I'm always holding something. And so
those are beautiful. Is it a pendulum?
I did. I sure did. I made this for hubby. Hubby was sick last year. In fact, he had to go to the hospital twice last year.
Oh, wow.
And I heard Spirit say, the last time he was unresponsive and had to be taken to the hospital, he lost his eyesight for a couple of months. Diabetes. I heard Spirit say on the way out the door, I grabbed the chain and grab all of these.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Yeah, and I would just swing them over him for healing while we were in the hospital. And call the ancestors to bring healing. And they did. He's completely healed. It's awesome. And he had diabetes, and he doesn't have to be on insulin. It's food based. The spirit keeps telling us. Of course, we talk to a dietitian and all of that, but yes, I'm telling you, I don't talk about spirituality a whole lot, but there are some powerful spirituality from within. Now, thank you so much, Dr. Nice. have taken so much of your beautiful time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for all of the wisdom that you have shared with us. We appreciate you so very much. And we're going to check out your channel and check out your website and all of the beautiful work that you are doing. Have a wonderful Sunday, sweetie. Hugs.
Thank you. I know, right from a distance.
Right. Yes, for life. Thank you, Queen. Have a wonderful day.
You too. And thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody on the chat. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So, Dr. Darnice has shared with us some beautiful, amazing knowledge and information. And we have just been blessed on this Sunday because of her and because she has been willing to share and willing to come and to bless us. When people spend their time with you and when they come to be here with you and share their knowledge because they want you to be healthy, they want you to be mentally whole, they want you to be connected with spirit. These are the people that we want to connect to. These are the people that we want to listen to you to. And as Dr. Darnice said, the whole point, the whole reason for doing this is so we all are more connected to the motherland. We're more connected to our own internal wisdom, to Africa, to our ancestors who are calling us to do amazing and great things in this moment, to heal ourselves, right? To get away from the Babylon system, right? Of the medicines and all of those things. We take them as long as we need to, right? Until we get new wisdom and new technologies that spirit and the ancestors are sharing with us. And we are moving in the right direction. And for some of us, that means moving back to Africa. For some of us, it means moving back to the continent and repatriating. If you're hearing the ancestors' voice, it's bringing healing and wisdom in this season. Thank you so much, Shayla. How are you doing? Thank you so much for supporting me, for loving me, for being on this journey with me. I can't tell you how much this means to me. Those of you who fought through me getting kicked out of the system 100 million times, I appreciate you. Yes, the system. I mean, yes, the matrix is falling. And so we must know that our time is now and Africa's time is now to rise and to repatriate and come on back home, because all the wisdom, all the oils and the seeds and all the things we need are back on the continent. Honey, they lied to us. They lied to us. And we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful existence knowing the truth about who we are and having the knowledge of who the Creator made us to be. Awesome. You guys have homework. You know your homework. Look. Let's see. Let's go back. So what are some of our words? Theodicy. We write these down in your notes, y'all. I tell y'all to write these down. Oshun, hoodoo, voodoo. Write these things down because these are things that we need to know. Africa Rising, Slave Religion by Albert. And so we're going to have that one. I was trying to find another one that someone said. Oh, here it is. Jackie says, Dr. Kavas, you go ahead and check that book out. All of this, I'm going to leave the chat open. I'm not going to take this down so you guys can come back to the chat. Rituals of Resistance by Jason Young. I want to call everybody doctor. This is a book you should have in your library already. Miseducation of the Negro. I had to do the ... because I tried to type it in and YouTube rejected my comment. So, there you go. But that is there. So let's see. Do we have everything? Jackie C., thank you so much. Great show. Loved it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Goddess Wisdom, beautiful, beautiful Sanav. Goddess Wisdom, all of you, be sure if you would like to come on the show with me, email me at myrepackjourney@gmail.com. repatjourney@gmail.com. Now, no spaces, but I'm putting the spaces in. So no spaces. I'm putting these spaces in, but no spaces. MyRepatJourney@gmail.com. If you'd like to come on and talk with me about spirituality, just give me a little overview of what you want to talk about, and we can, of course, chat about it more. I'd love to have you on the show. Right now, we're going to have 2 shows. Look forward this week. In addition to the other content that I put out, we're going to have Shayla is going to come on from Resplendence Arts, and she is going to share her ancestry DNA test, and she's going to talk to us about how the work that she is doing to educate all of us on African languages. So you want to be sure to watch out this week for that. And actually, that's going to happen on Saturday. So be sure to look for that. So I was looking for Shayla, but Shayla's going to come on, so be sure to look out for that. I'm also going to have Exodus Africa. She'll be on with us live this week, so be sure to check for that. Look, I need you guys to watch when I put out those videos. Watch the videos to the end. I'm trying to get to monetization, so I'm very, very close, and it could happen this week, y'all. We could be at monetization. I need you to help me. So go back through go back through, and any video, just look. If you washing dishes, let the video play. I need you to play it for the whole time. If you need to go wash the car and go down the street and take the kids to school, let my video play. Leave the house, let the video. I need the watch time, guys. If you're going to take a shower, turn the video on, let the video play. I need the whole 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long the video is. Just let it play. Do me a favor today. Share the video and let the videos play and play and play. Go down the street, go for a walk. Look, I need the watch time. That would be a big favor for me if you could watch at least about 5 videos, old videos, and continue watching the new ones, but with this new mindset of we're going to watch the watch time to the very, very end, because I need this. This is my this is my move, repatriate plan. YouTube is the way we're going to get there. So please, help. Resplendence Language Arts. She teaches many languages online. She has a YouTube channel, so please go over and check her out. She will be my guest on Saturday. So yes, I am excited about that. So these are announcements. Stay tuned. I got a few more announcements. We're going to run through this quick. All my socials everywhere on YouTube are right there. Right there. Okay. Sanav. Yes, you can find me Sanav on YouTube, Sanav on Facebook, Sanav on Instagram, Sanav. Connect with me. I have a YouTube group, My Repat Journey. So, and a Instagram group, if you're repatriating, is My Repat Journey. So connect with me there on Instagram, and I have a Facebook group, so you can search for that, My Repat Journey. Of course, if you want to come on the channel, be a part, myrepatjourney@gmail.com. Okay, that is me. Also, of course, myrepatjourney@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a gift to my GoFundMe page, I have the links below. All you have to do is click on it, or you want to send me a gift through Patreon, or my Patreon is Sanal. But if you'd like to send me a gift through PayPal or any of that to help me keep this going, keep doing what I do, sharing information for you, then you can do that through myrepatjourney@gmail.com. It would help me out a whole lot if you would support Black media. And that's what we are doing today. We are supporting Black media and Black people. Also, guys, I have a new This is the last announcement, y'all. Listen for the church announcements. Don't do like the folks do. Put your hand up and then be tipping out on the church announcements. Look, we got to do what we got to do. Be here for stay for the church announcements. Now, the last church announcement is that I'm gonna have to start putting on my little church lady hat in when I do church lady announcements and be sitting there with my little pen behind my desk. But the last church announcement, I have a new WhatsApp. And so I have a new WhatsApp, and it is my repat journey. So if you'd like to join the WhatsApp, we got information I'm not sharing with anybody else, just in the WhatsApp. Join. You can send me an email at myrepatjourney@gmail.com, no spaces, and give me your name and your phone number. That's how they do it with WhatsApp. It's not my rule, and I can add you to the WhatsApp. All right. So now again, Patreon is Sanal. There we are. Patreon is Sanal. Facebook, YouTube, all that is Sanal. So connect. And of course, for just, pennies, just for $1 to buy something at, at Dollar Tree for $1, you can support me. For $5 for the price of a latte, $7, you can support me. Any gift, big or small, is amazing. And I would appreciate it so much. Nice to see you, best student ever. Oh, hey. You were saying that to Kwame. Okay. Yes, it is. Let's see. She was a really good guest. Yes, she was, Kwame. Thank you for being here. Also, guest you have coming Saturday is really good. Yes, Resplendence Arts is really, really, really amazing. And I can't wait to talk to Shayla. Yes, someone said down here that they also wanted their DNA, our ancestry as well. I'm not sure how Dr. Apong. We'll have to connect with him. That would be awesome. Let's see. She's coming Saturday too. Someone talked about their ancestry. Yes, because Resplendence Arts, Shayla has gotten her ancestry DNA back. So we are going to definitely have to connect with her. Let's see. Thank you so much, Shanetta Horton. Thank you for being here. I look forward to watching your other videos. I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate you, Queen, so much. Oh, Dr. Pong. Yes, he's hoping that he can come with us. So that would be awesome as well. Yes, will do, sis. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, connect with me. I'd appreciate it. Write me an email if you'd love to come on and talk about spirituality, because we want to keep this going. When we go back to the motherland, we're going to be ready. We're going to have our spirituality on deck. We're going to know ourselves and listen to the ancestors, because the ancestors are sending us messages. Yes. And so good night. Big hugs to you. Thank you, Jackie. The ancestors are speaking to us. And so we need to hear the beautiful things that they are saying. Now, be sure to go over and follow Dr. Darnice on her channel. And so I put up her channel. I'm trying to find it. There it is. This is Dr. Darnice's channel. If you haven't already, go and give her a like. Subscribe to her channel. Let her know that I sent you. Leave a comment. Let her know that I sent you. You can follow her at Dr. Darnice Martin on Facebook. And she also has a website. If you look in the show notes, her website is linked below. And I'll go out and I'll find Dr. Darnice's channel, her YouTube channel, and I'll link it below as soon as the show is over and it's done processing. So you can check it out if you can't find it. So yes, so Donato from Biako Island will try to make it Saturday. Thank you so much. That's going to be a good show, y'all. Go out and check out Dr. Darnice. Support her. We know how we do as family. And support each other. Everybody that's here in the stream, Resplendence Language Arts, support everybody that's here in the stream. Let's support each other. Go over to Goddess Within. I don't know, sis, if you have a channel or not, but go over and support her as well. As always, y'all know what I got to do. Y'all know what I do. What other day is the other live stream with Sister Exodus? Kwame, email me. Anybody who wants to know the schedule. I will put you guys in a newsletter. So everyone that emails me at myrepatjourney@gmail.com, I'm working out the live stream with Sister Exodus. She has a busy schedule, so she's committed to this week. And so when she lets me know the date, the exact date, and it will be this week, I will let you know. I'm going to, as soon as I get off the stream, confirm the date with her. But if you email me, then I will email everyone back. So everyone that emails me, myrepatjourney@gmail.com, I will Kwame, everyone who, God is within everybody who emails me, I will send you an email. If you send it, I will send you an email back and let you know the exact day that she is going to come on, and the exact day and time that Resplendence Arts is going to come on as well. So I'll give you that schedule. And if you, like I said, if you email me at the myrepatjourney@gmail.com, which just because I'm looking for it, my email. If you email me and you get on my WhatsApp, then I will also send you a little text right before I go on live. And that way you will know exactly, what to do. You'll do that. Thank you so much. You'll know exactly when I'm going live. I'll put it out there so you'll know, and you'll have the schedule ahead of time. So it's my repat journey. There it is, at gmail.com. You email me and I will put you in the WhatsApp. If you give me your name and your number, I'll put you in the WhatsApp group. It's private. I'll let you know in that group right before I go. I'll let you know the schedule and when I'm going live, all of that. I'll also, if you email me, I'll add you to our newsletter, and I will make sure that you have the schedule when we're having guests on live, so you guys can be prepared. And you'll get some some other information, private information that I don't share with everybody, by just coming on, the newsletter and by coming on the WhatsApp. So those are private things, additional information that you'll get as my group, my repat group, my repat revolutionaries. You guys will get this information, all right, from me. Yes, and don't you want that information? You will get it first. You will get the firsthand information. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you guys so much. Be sure to share if you're in groups, if you're in other WhatsApp groups, if you're in Facebook groups, or you're on Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. Be sure to share this video. It really will help me out a lot. And as I have said, I've link the information for GoFundMe, because hubby and I are trying to get out of here quick. The motherland is calling, y'all. But we're on this journey, and we're happy with whatever God does, the Most High does. So be sure to donate if you can. It would help us out a whole bunch. All right, guys, I love you guys so much. And as always, I got my little, for those of you who've been here for a while, you already know, I got my little rocking horse at the door, because I don't want y'all to leave, but I gotta go. And I know you guys gotta go. All right. You guys are wonderful. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're intelligent. You have everything within you that you need to do everything that you need to do. The ancestors are here, and they are speaking and working through you and on your behalf. You are amazing. You know why? Baby, honey, because you just are. I love you so much, and I'm going to see you in another video very, very soon. Real soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Love you.